welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And welcome back for another Who Knows What Wednesday.
Yes, welcome back to a Who Knows What Wednesday episode. Just a reminder, you can find us on all of our social medias. They are linked below in the description. We would highly recommend that you like, subscribe, and follow and hit that notification bell. Not only would we appreciate it, you'd also get notified about all of our really interesting videos, which on Who Knows What Wednesday, when I say interesting, I mean it could be anything.
Literally anything.
Who knows what? Literally anything. And on Saturdays, we have our book review. Right now, we are doing Breaking Dawn, the fourth book of the 4-part Twilight series.
We're so close.
We're so close to being done. So close to being done. But you should check that out. We also have our YouTube exclusive movie reactions to the Twilight movie, New Moon movie, and
now the Eclipse.
And the Eclipse movie. So yeah, you should check that out if you're looking for a break from our interesting videos like today, which that being said, what trigger warnings do we have?
Well, before I get into trigger warnings, I want to say we had our first ever request.
We had a request?
We had a request by that one female freshman runner. So thank you so much for requesting for one of our episodes. So
is that the episode today?
That is the episode today.
Thank you, that one female freshman runner.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What was the order?
It was that one female freshman runner.
That one female freshman runner. I love that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And, we like requests that are not to, go jump off a cliff. Like we like episode requests. Thank you.
Yes, and that request was done over on Spotify, so you guys can request just about anywhere.
I forget that Spotify, they have comments.
And I was very thankful because I screenshotted it when I saw it and I was like, I'm going to send it to you. And I'm like, wait, no.
That's right. Because if y'all haven't picked up on this already, when we do a Who Knows What Wednesday, thus far, we have not done anything that the other person knows a lot about. So the other person is reacting.
Yep.
Which recently, because of my commitments outside of the podcast, Jess has been doing all the episode research. Thank you, Jess.
Yep. So we're going to be talking about Andrea Yates.
Why does that sound familiar?
Because it's probably going to be familiar. Trigger warnings for this episode: eating disorder, depression, miscarriage, suicide attempts, murder of children.
Oh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, do I know this? Maybe.
I'm sure you... I'd be shocked if you didn't, because I initially thought that I didn't. I was like, oh, who's that? And I started researching, and I was like, oh, I have heard about this case.
I might be thinking of Casey Anthony's case right now, so maybe I might be surprised on this one.
So Andrea Kennedy, later on Yates, was born in Houston, Texas on July 2nd, 1964. She was born to Judah Kohler and Andrew Kennedy. She was the youngest of 5 children. When Andrea was a teenager, she suffered from bulimia and depression and started talking to a friend about suicide. Andrea graduated high school in 1982. She was class valedictorian, captain of the swim team, and was an officer in the National Honor Society. Andrea became an RN, or nurse, and started working at University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. So she's very smart.
Really smart cookie.
Very smart lady. So in 1989, Andrea met Russell, or Rusty Yates. Rusty at this time was a NASA engineer. They met in their apartment complex that both of them lived in. But yeah, so he's a NASA engineer.
So we got super smart lady, super smart dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I'm remembering the trigger warnings. Oh, okay.
So they ended up moving in together and got married on April 17th, 1993, when they were both 28 years old. They bought a 4-bedroom home in Friendswood, Texas, and they had their first baby in February of 1994. Andrea had postpartum difficulties with her first pregnancy. After the birth of her first son, Noah, Andrea started experiencing hallucinations of her stabbing someone with a knife, but she hid this.
Oh, PPD is not something to mess with.
Mhm.
That stuff's dangerous to the mom and everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, no, people, please get help if you're experiencing or you think your loved one is experiencing symptoms of postpartum depression disorder.
Well, yeah, postpartum. I mean, this technically, I don't think this fell into postpartum depression, but it was postpartum difficulties. I can't remember what term they used. I am not a psychologist, not anything like that. But this does fall in. There's a lot of things that can happen postpartum, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
So please, please, please get help. Don't hide it. A lot of people have a tendency to hide it. Go get help.
Yeah, and no judgment on that one.
No.
Believe me, we all get it. Like, we haven't had children. At the same time, hormones are awful at all times.
Yep.
They're awful.
They do crazy things.
They do crazy things to you. I go crazy once a month. I will be the first one to admit it. That there are times where I have to be like, woo, hang on, bring it back. Don't let that come out the mouth because that's the hormones talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine what it's like because it's times like 500 when you give birth. And then God help you when you have that first period after giving birth. I have been told horror stories.
Yeah.
It's 40 weeks worth of periods saved up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Andrea's not doing good. When Andrea became pregnant with her second child in 1995, she stopped swimming and jogging, and she really didn't see her friends as much as she was.
Don't stop your hobbies.
No, and that's important too. Andrea ended up having a miscarriage between her second and third child. And after her fourth child, Andrea became depressed. And on June 17th, 1999, she attempted suicide by overdosing. She was hospitalized and given antidepressants. She was released and ended up not taking her meds because she didn't like taking them, which is also very common.
I was going to say, I feel like I hear from a lot of folks, even the ones that are like, no, I'm grateful for my antidepressants. A lot of people have said like they don't like the side effects that come with it.
Mm-hmm. That is a very common thing that I also see pre-hospitally is people that should be taking meds that they just don't like how they were feeling or they started feeling better and so they stopped.
Yep. Yeah. I know one person who was it was really hard to take him at what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
This was a client of mine where mental health problems galore.
Yeah.
But at one point he had said that he didn't believe his doctors when they said that he had schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. But it was like talking to him. Yeah, pretty sure he did. But there were times where he'd be like, nope, I don't take any of those meds. I just don't like them. Yep. Or I was doing good. I don't need them. And I'm like.
And that's really common too.
Yeah, and that was a hard one because I'm like, how do I politely tell you that I think you need them, but you need them right now before I can even tell you that?
Yeah.
And also you're bigger than me and you know where I work.
Mm-hmm. So not gonna.
But it's a tricky situation.
Yeah. Go to your psychologist, psychiatrist, doctors, talk with them, take medications as prescribed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, don't get your medical advice from us.
No.
No.
So at this point, with her not taking medication, she would stay in bed all day and self-mutilate herself by picking her skin, creating sores and bald patches.
Oh, ooh. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Andrea later told psychiatrists that during this time she had visual and auditory hallucinations and heard voices that would tell her to go get a knife.
Mm-hmm. Not good.
I remember a part of me being in medic school. I think I've told you about this, but in one of our classes, one thing that we had to do, I was in a very small campus, very small. And we had to put in headphones, and there was this track on YouTube that we had to listen to that was basically like putting yourself into the shoes of a schizophrenic just for the auditory stimulation. And they said you have to go walk a lap and come back. We were inside the whole time, building was locked, whatever. The scariest 5 minutes of my life. It was terrifying.
Oh, I'm sure, especially because some of those voices are not nice.
And that's the thing.
That's
And you don't know what they're gonna say, what they're gonna tell you to do, what they're not gonna tell. I have had a guy was schizophrenic in the back of my truck, and he looked at me and he's like, I just want to let you know I'm not going to do anything, but the voices in my head are telling me to hurt you, but I'm not going to do anything. I was like, oh, thank you for letting me know.
Now, just imagine that situation when Jess said on the truck. For those who are not aware, Jess is a paramedic.
Yeah.
Have any of you been in the back of an ambulance? I hope not. I hope everyone's okay. There's not a lot of space back there. It adds another level of, oh my.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary for both you and the patient.
Mm-hmm. It's scary for everybody involved.
It really is.
Yep.
Oh, and this poor woman's going through auditory and visual.
Yeah. So she was hospitalized again, given more medications, and one of those included Haldol, which is very common for an antipsychotic medication given to, I mean, we can use them on the truck. It's for usually more for acute stuff. But Haldol, I went to WebMD for you guys because I knew that's where Connie is probably Googling right now. So Haldol is an antipsychotic medication, and it works by blocking the action of dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter in the brain that is involved with mood, behavior, and cognition. It can help reduce symptoms such as agitation, hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized thinking.
It sounds like a helpful drug.
Mm-hmm. Very helpful. I have seen it work wonders. Yes, it's helpful if it's taken.
Is that the one that's in the little glass vial? No.
There's a lot in glass vials.
Yeah, Connie. I recognize as soon as I said it, that's like the equivalent of you turning to me like, is that the one with the statue? Okay.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's accurate.
Never mind.
So with the new medications, Andrea immediately improved and was released again. In July 1999, Andrea had attempted suicide twice and was hospitalized twice. Around this time, she had been diagnosed with postpartum psychosis. There it is.
Yes. Different than postpartum depression.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what I couldn't remember earlier. Andrea's psychiatrist had testified that she urged Andrea and Rusty to not have any more children because it would, quote, guarantee future psychotic depression, end quote.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. 7 weeks after Andrea's discharge from the hospital, she was pregnant with her 5th child and stopped taking Haldol.
I was about to say, because let me guess, you can't take that while pregnant.
I don't believe so.
Again, double check with your doctor. Do not come to us for medical advice. Pregnant again? I
don't think so. No.
Yeah. I have some questions, though. I have a lot of questions for both Rusty and her. Because while it takes two to tango, at the same time, like, what's going on here, guys?
There was a lot with that I did leave out because there's a lot of information on this case.
I'm sure.
A lot. And there was a lot of...
Was it domestic violence? Oh, sorry.
No, it's not. But there was a lot of, the psychiatrist would tell Andrea and Andrea wouldn't tell Rusty. And Rusty, they were very religious and they were like, we're going to have as many kids as God gives us. That was basically what sums up a lot of what I was reading that I didn't include on here because it just came back to those main things.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah. That's definitely something that partners should be on the same page about.
Mm-hmm.
And your doctors should be aware of that as well if it is a case like this where it's directly involved in your health and the medication. Oh dear.
So Andrea had her 5th child in the end of 2000. She seemed to be doing well following giving birth. But on March 12th, 2001, Andrea's father died. And she was not doing well with that. She stopped taking her medications, started self-harming, constantly read the Bible, and stopped feeding her 5th child.
Oh, not good.
Yeah. She was hospitalized April 1st, 2001, and then released. On May 3rd, 2001, it was said that Andrea was in a catatonic-like state and had filled the bathtub in the middle of the day.
Oh.
Andrea was hospitalized the next day when a psychiatrist determined that she was probably suicidal and had been filling the tub. On June 20th, 2001, Andrea was home with her 5 children alone for an hour. Rusty had just left for work, and her mother-in-law was set to arrive an hour later.
I think I know this.
Yep. It was then that Andrea drowned all of her children in the bathtub. Her children at the time were 6-month-old Mary, 2-year-old Luke, 3-year-old Paul, 5-year-old John, and 7-year-old Noah. Andrea apparently started with Paul. He was 3 and apparently her greatest joy. Afterwards, she tucked his body in her bed and laid his head on a pillow. Next was Luke, then John, then Mary. Andrea had left Mary in the tub and then called Noah into the bathroom. He asked what happened to Mary. He then tried to run, but Andrea ran after him and drug him back to the bathroom. Andrea after put Mary in the bed with 3 of her brothers and ensured that her brothers' arms were around Mary, and she had left Noah in the tub. Andrea then called 911 and spoke unemotionally and requested police and an ambulance. She then called Rusty saying, quote, "It's time, I finally did it," end quote. She then told him to come home and hung up. A day after, a psychiatric nurse said that she was in her cell. Andrea was in her cell staring at the wall and was talking to someone who wasn't there. She only would turn to look at staff after repeatedly calling her name. When Andrea was evaluated the day after, the medical director of psychiatric services at Harris County Jail stated that Andrea didn't show any emotion at first, but then started crying and yelling. Quote, "She screamed, 'Could I have killed just one to fulfill the prophecy? Couldn't I have offered Mary? Are they all in heaven?" End quote. That quote came from Fox News. Andrea believed that she was a bad mother and she ruined her offspring, and so she killed her children to save them from Satan. Andrea then paraphrased Luke 17:2, quote, "It is better for someone to tie a millstone around their neck and cast them into a river than to stumble," end quote. At this time, Andrea did not believe that she was mentally ill.
They usually don't, though.
No, that did not surprise me at all either. Andrea's attorney tried to plea insanity, but Andrea actually impaired her attorney's attempts to do so. Andrea insisted that there was nothing wrong with her mind and states that she deserved to die. Prosecutors believed Andrea knew her actions were wrong because she called 911 and later stated that she was a bad mother and wanted to be punished. Another reason they believe she knew her actions were wrong was she did this after her husband went to work and before her mother-in-law arrived.
I mean, they're trying to prove the men's. If any of my classmates see this or my professors, please tell me if I get this wrong in class. But not in front of other people. Like, pull me to the side. They're trying to, prove the mens rea, the guilty mind aspect, because some jurisdictions, to my understanding, not a lawyer here. Do not come to me for legal advice yet. You have to prove that portion.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the charge that they are going for, which Texas, were they going for capital punishment, the death penalty?
They ruled it out.
Interesting. Okay.
But she was up for, I talk about it, I just don't remember.
Oh, okay. Then I'll husha until we get to that part.
I don't remember all this much. It's like you trying to tell me like a medical procedure being done.
Yep.
I'm like, I know what's in here.
Yep. That was how I felt in the Kitty Genovese episode where I'm like, I want to talk about paramedic stuff.
I'm just expecting you to jump right in.
I was. That's what I was like. It doesn't matter that I don't have as many notes on this one. But Jess will have opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And you did, so it worked.
I did. Okay, so, here it is. On July 30th, 2001, Andrea was indicted on 2 counts of capital murder for the deaths of Noah, John, and Mary, but not for Luke and Paul.
Okay.
I don't know.
I would want to read the opinion on that.
I was reading like a journal article on the court cases because I couldn't find the court cases because they're not out for where I could find them. I couldn't see them. That day, Andrea's attorney filed a notion of intent to offer evidence of the insanity defense from testimonies from 2 psychiatrists that claimed Andrea was, quote, mentally insane, end quote, at the time of the killings. Within 8 months following her indictment, one jury decided she was competent to stand trial and refused her insanity plea. The second jury declined to impose the death penalty, and Andrea received a life sentence for the killings. In August of 2004, Rusty filed for divorce since he and Andrea didn't live together as a married couple since the murders. The divorce went through March 17th, 2005, and he started dating and married again in 2006. They had 1 son, and then they divorced in 2015, apparently. Don't know much about that. It was just a little off blip.
Imagining that at the first date. So, what's your past?
Well, I had 5 kids.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
On January 6, 2005, a prosecution witness, Dr. Park Dietz, a psychiatrist, admitted that he had given false testimony during the trial. He stated that just before the murders, an episode of Law and Order aired of a woman who drowned her children and was acquitted of murder by reason of insanity. We'll talk about this in a bit and more. It was also revealed that he wasn't familiar with postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis, and therefore could have told a much simpler mental landscape than what was warranted.
And he was the one that was testifying as the expert psychologist?
Mm-hmm. From my understanding, yes.
Okay.
It says that he was one of them. So there might have been a few.
I would assume there's probably a few, actually.
Yeah.
But how do you... Okay. Okay.
The appellant court unanimously...
Sorry.
What?
Appellant.
Appellant. Thank you.
It's weird.
The appellant courts. The appellant?
Appellant.
Appellant. The appellant court unanimously agreed the jury may have been influenced by Diatz's false testimony and would need a new trial. 2 years later, there was a Law and Order episode that aired that was most likely what he had been talking about. Why haven't I mentioned that yet?
Sorry, now
Okay,
I'm just double-checking.
Apparently I didn't write down why this was, because this psychiatrist or whoever he apparently was one of the experts that Law and Order had on to help them write the episode.
Oh, conflict of interest. Interesting. Okay.
So that's why he came forward.
Also, side note, as soon as we were saying appellant so many times, I was like, wait, it's not the appellant court, it's the appellate court. But the one appealing is the appellant. So
close enough, whatever.
Appellate court. I only say that because
he was consulting. There we go. I couldn't come up with the word.
Yeah. The only reason I say that is just on the off chance that anyone from
I'll cut your part out so it'll be me sounding stupid. So you're good.
You're good. I didn't catch it, and I should have got it because most of the cases that I read are in the appellate courts. Like, whoa, that's like 99% of the cases I read are in those courts. You're good. It's like you said, Tylenol is Tylenol.
Well,
someone probably has.
Probably. Yeah, so Dietz was the consult for that episode, supposedly. And it was so close, so I don't know how that all works, but
I'd be very interested to see the inner workings of that.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot. I'm talking, I read through pages and pages and pages of just this and why it was a conflict of interest, or
however they
listed it as. So there is a lot out there on that.
Yeah, I'm surprised because he consulted before or after the trial for SVU or Law and Order.
It was before.
He consulted before the trial.
Mm-hmm. It was like right before the murders happened. And I don't know how long there was a gap there, but the episode didn't air for like a year or two. Like it took a long time for it to actually air. So everyone was like, oh, the episode doesn't actually exist.
Got it. Yeah, no, I got my limited understanding, and I need to do more learning, obviously, but like they do go over the credentials of the experts, and like they do, to my understanding, do like some type of voir dire almost with them where they're like, okay, is there any like things that we should know about? So I'm just kind of surprised that didn't come up beforehand. But again, maybe things are different then. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. What do I know?
Yeah. Well, and I could definitely be misunderstanding all the pages and pages. I think it was like 150 pages, and I was trying to skim through as much as I could. So
yeah, there's even though we call them briefs in the legal world,
they're not brief.
Not even a little.
No. Okay, so we're almost done here. On January 9th, 2006, Andrea entered a not guilty by reason of insanity plea, and on February 1st, 2006, she was granted release on bail with the condition that she would be admitted to a mental health treatment facility. On July 26, 2006, after 3 days of deliberation, Andrea was found not guilty by reason of insanity and was then committed to North Texas State Hospital. She was moved in 2007 to Kerrville State Hospital, which is a low-security mental facility. And my sources, real quick, Fox News, New York Times, ABC News, and then what I found, it was like a little journal thing, was Fordham University School of Law.
Nice.
Yeah.
The case wasn't nice, But
no, but
yeah.
You approve of my sources.
Yes. No, that one, I do remember hearing a bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember hearing about it when I was like a middle teen, if you will, like 15, 16.
Yeah.
I had strong opinions about it, as would anyone who's listening.
Everyone does, yeah.
And I still have opinions as an adult hearing this, but like I very much have a different take on it now that we're at the age where like people our age have children, multiple children. Mm-hmm. And it's just like
and more understanding of mental health issues
mental health and the postpartum psychosis and everything else. But like I'm grateful that I can't imagine what that is like.
Yeah, I know.
I can't. And even for Rusty, like I can't
even imagine what he was going through.
No.
Or what she was going through.
What she was going through, what Noah was going through as the oldest and able to, and the running. Like that's, nothing
Horrifying.
is good in this, but like that age of being able to understand what was happening and fearing your own mother, like that, fearing for your life from your own mother. No, this just feels like kind of everyone was a victim in this.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah, that was a heavy one. But thank you again to that one female freshman runner for suggesting it.
Thank you. We are always happy for suggestions for episodes. Leave that as a comment. Otherwise, we do have an email linked in our description, which we have gotten someone's email already. I think we talked about it in a previous episode, but she's from Mexico and she emailed us and it was pretty cool. So we'd like to hear from you guys.
You can even just say hi. That's what she did.
we like hi. Let's spread some positivity, especially in the YouTube comment section, because we've, knock on wood, we've been spared some pretty bad stuff, but we still had one or two comments where I'm like,
we've had quite a few that are usually on our shorts, and people don't really know who we are or anything. So
I know a few times I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You thought that was appropriate to post online?
Yeah. So let's spread some positivity.
Let's spread some love. Let's just be kind to everyone behind a screen or in person. Just be nice.
Yes.
It's not, I'm not asking a lot here.
No.
Let's be nice. And if you can't be nice, I can't remember if it was in this episode or if this was in the Breaking Dawn episode. If you can't say something nice, say something factual. And if you can't say something factual,
that was a Breaking Dawn.
That was a Breaking Dawn. You know, sometimes these things run together.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, any comments from you or good?
No, that was a case.
There could be an entire playlist of this is a case.
Yeah. This one was a heavy case.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you either on Saturday for another Breaking Dawn or next week for who knows what.
Yeah, Breaking Dawn, Breaking Down, same thing.
It might be. I haven't read those chapters yet, so it might be.
I say nothing.
Oh,
on that note, see y'all. Adios.
Bye.